Hey guys, welcome to Make It Yourself. As I mentioned in the last video, our first modification to the 2017 Road Glide is to fancy up the bezel that goes around that oil cooler. So here's my plan: is what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue on the back side of this in place some of this mesh here, and so I originally bought this to cover up the vent holes in my garage, but I mean it's pretty simple. It's got plenty of breathing room, so it's not going to block the wind from hitting the oil cooler, so it should maintain fine. And it being aluminum, I should be able to paint it both sides and protect it with some like Rust-Oleum or something like that to keep the moisture out and all that good stuff. But what I want to do is I'm going to hot glue it to the backside. So I just got to cut a piece, hot glue it to the backside of this just to mock it up to see if it's going to work out. I don't know if the oil cooler is going to protrude a little bit, which would end up hitting this. I don't really necessarily want them, putting pressure on any of the fins. So let me go ahead and cut this down to size, and I'll glue it in place, and we'll see what this looks like as a mock-up. Okay, so here's what it looks like mocked up. So all I have right now is some hot glue. I use black because I'm a knucklehead. I'm like, oh, it's got to match, right? That's not even going to be what I use as a final thing to hold this in place. But if you look on the back side, I just did some quick spots. So in the corners, on the sides, and then 3 dots on the bottom, just again to hold it in place. So I'm going to try to put this on, and then we'll see what this looks like on the bike. So here it is installed. It does sit on top of it, but it doesn't look like it's putting much of any pressure on it. So I'm not worried about the fins being damaged. So I'm safe there. So at this point, I'm happy with the way it looks as far as the mock-up goes. So I'm going to go ahead and take it back off. I'm going to do the 2-part epoxy to get it all in place. But before I glue it on, what I want to do is remove that mesh, because I want to paint that at least once on its own, maybe with some Rust-Oleum primer or something like that. My point is the edges that you can't see, or that would be mounted up against the back side of this, they're not going to get painted. And that's pretty raw stuff. So I don't know how well treated that is. And I don't want moisture to get up in there, start, turning that into rust, and then it just rots and falls apart. So a little bit of due diligence on my side to prevent it from failing. Will make it last a whole lot longer and probably look a whole lot better. So let me go ahead and pull it off and separate that from the plastic housing. So check this out. I've got the mesh in. I did a coat of some Rust-Oleum, just like I said, to help protect it a little bit. I'm going to do a final coat, and I'm debating if I go with plastic dip to make it a little bit more durable, or if I just get some automotive glossy black paint, because it's not like it moves around, but it will probably take a rock or two. But I mean, it's black on black, so I don't know. I got to figure that out. This surface is already kind of porous, so the paint should stick to it fine, but I may just run some higher grit, maybe 800 or higher on this, just to ensure that it has a good surface to grab onto. I've got to wipe it down with some rubbing alcohol, but not too bad. Looks pretty good, right? If you look at the backside, you can see how I attached it. So I just used 2-part epoxy and just dabbed at a couple spots in the corners, top center. So that's what's holding it into place. I'm going to paint the backside as I was kind of installing it, which is my nail, and kind of scratched off a couple spots. So I do want to maintain that it's protected, so that way, like I said, it doesn't rust out and slowly deteriorate on me. I mean, I guess over time it'll probably happen, but try to slow down even more. So the next step, sand and paint this thing. And as soon as I get that knocked out, I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like painted. Again, I just roughed up the surface a little bit with some 800 grit sandpaper to promote the adhesion of the paint. I used some Rust-Oleum and automotive enamel. Some just gloss black is what I used. So I went over the front end and the just the grating, the backside of the grating, just to again make sure I covered all the little areas I may have scratched with my nails, my fingernail when I was putting it on. It's not glossy smooth. I'm not really too worried about that. If it annoys me at some other point in time, then I may turn around and just do a wet sand of it, throw a couple more coats on just to really smooth it out if I want to draw out like a super gloss. But if that's the case, then you know, you're probably looking to get it just painted or buy one that's already painted. This was really just to kind of make this look a little bit better than what it did before. So I'm going to let this sit overnight. That way the paint fully cures, and then we'll install it in the morning. So now we've got that cover back on the bike here, and I'm going to have to pull this out so you can see this in the light. The lighting in my garage definitely is not doing this thing justice, but if you compare it to the beginning of the video, you'll see that this is leaps and bounds much better looking than what it was before. So that dull look that it had, it's got a glossy finish. You can still see the fins of the oil cooler through it, but you also see the grate, so it kind of mixes it up, and with the grate being painted black, it gives it a nice uniform look versus the kind of exposed radiator looking deal that it had. So let's get this out in the sun here. Well, here we are, folks. So we can now see this in the sun. Oh yeah, like I said, much better than what it looked like stock. To me, it just kind of helps it fit in a little bit more. Let me know what you think, guys. Is it something that you know, you'd want to do? Like I said, small, simple, looks great. Alright guys, that's a wrap for this video. Hopefully you liked watching the simple modification we made to the Rogue Light today. Very simple, low cost. I think I paid $7 for the can of spray paint. I happen to have that wire mesh laying around, but I think you buy the roll of it for 15 bucks. So yeah, overall, a simple thing to do with a great outcome. Feel free to leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. If you liked the content, please consider subscribing. And I produce every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So hit that notification bell, that way you don't miss out on the next video. Until then, have a great one.